Hey guys, and welcome. This is our inaugural weekly travel series that we're going to start doing. It'll be every Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Unless we are on location at a property, we might go live some other time of the week, but I would definitely let you know about that. A little nervous. This is my first scheduled live event that I've done. But I'm Robert. If I haven't had the pleasure and opportunity to meet any of you that are out there on our page, my name is Robert. We own a travel business, my husband Kyle and I, and he's actually doing some other stuff around the house right this minute. We've been busy today working with clients, but I definitely wanted to open this up. And what we're going to do is, if you have questions that you want to ask, you can go ahead and type those in the comments below. Or if you have something that you'd like us to talk about in the future, definitely send us a direct message, and we can see about including that on either the next week's series or the series following that. But we definitely want to touch on topics that any of our clients or our guests would like us to talk about. I have two topics that I really want to talk about today, and that is going to be Alaska and Hawaii. Really excited that Alaska has been opened back up, and the president signed off the Alaskan Tourism Restoration Act, so that opened everything back up, and sailings are now going to start going to Hawaii. To Alaska. And that's really going to save that season. We were afraid that things weren't going to open up there, and that Alaska was going to have to wait a whole another year. They already have a limited time in which we can go visit them and see them anyway, so we're really excited about that. Now, some good news with Alaska. Doing some research for the Alaska Tourism Board, did find out that there's not going to be any quarantining if you are fully vaccinated. So if you're fully vaccinated and you want to go to Alaska, you're not going to have to partake in the 10-day quarantine. And actually starting, I believe it was June 15th, and don't quote me on that date, it's either June 1st or June 15th. If you are traveling to Alaska and you have not had a vaccination, you will be able to get a free vaccination from Alaska when you get there, if that's something that you want to do. But you can head right in and be able to explore and experience that amazing state that is up there, whether that be by plane, by cruise ship, or by rail. Now, I will tell you, if it is by rail and you are traveling through Canada, there are separate requirements that are required for Canada, and we're not going to get into those. But if you are traveling by cruise ship out of Seattle, you can head right on up, or you can actually fly directly into Alaska. There are a lot of amazing cruises where you'll fly directly into Alaska, and you can cruise south through Alaska and be picked up at the southern tip and fly home. Another topic that I wanted to touch on, like I said, is Hawaii. We just had the amazing experience about a month ago to travel to Hawaii. We actually went to Maui. It was great. We spent a whole week there, and I had never been to Hawaii before. It was definitely hands down one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to. And it just makes me want to travel and experience more. We've got a little saying here in the house, and it's, you need to see the world before you leave the world. And we are firm believers in seeing everything we can while we can. But touching back on Hawaii. So if you are going to be traveling to Hawaii, one thing I'd encourage you to do is to visit the State of Hawaii Travel and Tourism Board. Okay, there's going to be a lot that is that you can get from there. And one of the things, there are a lot of travel restrictions for Hawaii. So if you're flying into Maui, there's a mandatory COVID-19 test upon arrival in Maui. That's just a regulation. If you're going to be traveling in between the islands, going from county to county, there's a 10-day quarantine for inter-island travel unless you received your vaccination in the Hawaiian Islands. If you received your vaccination in the Hawaiian Islands, 15 days after the end of that vaccination cycle, you can then travel freely in between the islands. But prior to departing for the Hawaiian Islands, you're 72 hours out, you're going to have a test. And that test has to be from an approved source. So you just can't go down, to your local pharmacy on the corner and get a COVID test. It has to come from a source that is approved by the state of Hawaii. Now, what we did is there's a mail-in version of that test, and we loved it. I'm not saying one test is better than the other. just for our circumstances and everything. The mail-in tests worked great for us. They were with us every step of the way. We did what we had to do for the test live on chat with a doctor, and then we sealed everything up, sent it off, and we had the results the next day. So definitely before you're traveling anywhere, you want to, check the tourism board. Every state has a tourism board. Every country has a tourism board. And a lot of them are you can just Google it straight through, hey, tourism board for wherever, or travel and tourism of wherever. It's going to give you the latest and greatest on what's going on. But you can always keep an eye on our page. We try to keep as much info current as we can on our page for traveling and things like that, or at least links to get to traveling. So when you are traveling, one thing I like to ask people is why. Why are you traveling? Why do you want to go? And for us, I would mainly say we're selfish. we do love to travel. We love to travel with the experience, but we also love to travel for the knowledge. That's the knowledge of experiencing places. Because if you've only seen, the four corners of your town, you're missing out on so much. There's so much that is around. And with travel opening back up, we're reaching that point in our world where we're getting into a post-COVID mentality. Now, I will always say, especially for us when we travel, I would still say travel smart and travel safe. Whether that means you want to wear a mask or you don't want to wear a mask, follow the rules of wherever you are going, and make sure you know those rules before you get there. So that way there is not incident when you get there. But always continue to wash your hands. Don't touch things you don't need to be touching, and just take care of yourself, because your health is one of the most important things. And it's not up to me to tell you how to be healthy. That's entirely up to you to decide. But I would say if you are going to be traveling, especially internationally, where you might be exposed to something that your body isn't used to, definitely take care, take precautions, do what you need to do. Travel smart and travel safe. Yeah, so getting around and seeing the world in this post-COVID society that we're bringing about, it's interesting. A lot of things that we took for granted before, being able to just walk into some places, or being able to, just do things without having to really think. Those have kind of really put a new perspective on things. You can't just walk into a restaurant now. A lot of these restaurants are requiring, a reservation. So you have to call in advance or use their app, and definitely book you a table. Don't just show up to places unless you know right offhand that, hey, if I go there, they're just going to let me in. Especially when traveling internationally. Because it's not like, here in the States where you just be like, oh, I know the guy on the corner. We go there all the time. We'll be able to get right in. You might go to these places and think, oh, hey, I'm going to just be able to go. I'm going to be able to eat at this place. And you're not going to be able to get in. One thing, for instance, when we were in Hawaii, we went to a place called Mama's Fish House. Mama's Fish House books out 6 months in advance. And we just happened to luck out, in the day before our reservation, or the day before we ended up with the reservation, something opened up. We did not have one. We kept checking and checking and checking, and finally somebody canceled or something, and we were able to slide right in. But had we just shown up, and while we were there, some people did it. They just showed up thinking, oh, I'm going to get a table. There's going to be, walk-ins, and there's not. A lot of these places, they've done away with that. If you're not on the list, you're not getting in. It's that VIP treatment. And so you definitely want to know where you're going and what you're doing. Some other things, I don't really have a set schedule for this being our first live feed on travel. That is something, that we wanted to start and experience with all of you. And one of our friends, Michelle, actually, I can finally announce this because we couldn't say anything before. She is another travel advisor, a good friend of ours. We traveled down to the Dominican Republic with her. She's hopefully coming to Jamaica with us in a couple weeks. But she just got a radio show, and now she lives up in North Carolina. And for an hour on Mondays, she's going to be able to sit down and kind of do the same thing we're doing, except she's going to be a voice on the radio. She's asked us if we would set some time aside to be a guest host on her show here and there. So we're really excited about that. But that's what kind of sparked us to want to do this live event once a week. Was to be able to come to y'all and talk to y'all about things that are, excuse me, I don't know what's going on. Things that are going on in the travel world and the travel industry. Because a lot of people, they still have questions. Is it safe to travel? Is it okay for me to travel? How do I travel? Do I need a travel advisor? And, I would say it is safe to travel as long as you're traveling smart. We have been traveling, okay? We have been numerous places in the past 6 months alone. We've been traveling, but we travel smart. We've been to the Dominican Republic. We've gone to Hawaii. We've gone to Colorado. We've been down to Fort Lauderdale. We're heading to Jamaica. So there are you are able to travel, but you just have to be smart about it and be safe. And we've, knock on wood, we've traveled without any consequence of, getting sick or becoming ill, while we've been in destination. So one thing that people are worried about, that we've had some of our clients talking to us about, is our cruise is going to be safe. And, there's not a direct yes, no answer to that. As of right now, all the precautions and safety measures that are in place, I would say yes. For me personally, I would get on a cruise ship because I believe they're going to be safe. I know there's been a lot of retrofitting of cruise ships to get things up and going. They've revamped how they do stuff. People are worried, are there going to be too many people on the boat? Well, you have to look. Every cruise ship is going to have their own policy on how they're complying with the CDC regulations and getting back up and going. And that is something, I don't want to put an answer out there because it's not the same for every boat. But if you are looking at a certain cruise, or you want to know the requirements or what it's going to be like, you can definitely reach out to us directly, with that individual question, and we will get you the answer on that and be able to get you all the details. Because we do want you to sail safe. We want you to sail smart. And just wherever you go, wherever your journey takes you, we're here to help you. And we'll answer any questions we can. If not, we have numerous resources we'll be able to reach out to and get you those answers. So other than that, that's kind of all I really had for today. I didn't have too much. Like I said, if there is something that you would like us to talk about, or something you'd like to see in some upcoming weeks, definitely send us a message on that. I'd love to be able to build like a little, little thing around it. We are looking, like a 10-15 minute segment every week. This isn't going to go on for hours. Now, if we are in destination and we are coming live from that destination, it might be a little longer, and the scenery will change behind me. Because we'll be moving around, and I'll be trying to show y'all as much as I can. But definitely, like always, you need to travel this world before you leave this world. And I hope you all have a great day. If you need anything, we are right here, Cruise Planners. I'm Robert. Kyle is around somewhere, and you can reach us via any of our social media platforms. And we're here to help you out. All right, thanks. Have a great one.